Yeah, we are live. We are live. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah. All right, we're live. We're live. Uh, YouTube, TikTok, CBD. Yes, 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 yes. All right, let's get into it. I don't have a lot of time. I gotta hit it and quit it. Hit it and quit it. All right, let's get into this thing. Yes, 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 yes. Yours truly, Divalerie, UNA University, UNA Republic, YouTube. What's going on? TikTok, what's going on? I love you. I love you. Y'all like and share. Okay, listen, we got to get into this thing because I don't have a lot of time. I got to hurry up, hurry up. Okay, so we're talking today about uh secrets of the U.S. corporation, part two. Part two. All right, so we're going to get into this thing. And YouTube, I hope y'all see me. If you don't, you're gonna see me later. I love you. TikTok, I know y'all seeing me. I can see y'all seeing me. I need to share the screen and I don't have a lot of time to do it. Now, TikTok, watch out. Because I'm going to flip the script. Flip the script. All right, let me take, oops, that's the wrong thing. Let me take my enhancements off here, my effects off of here. Let me try this one more time. There we go. Okay. Now I have flipped the script. Why is it so big? All right. I hope y'all can see this now because I'm gonna have to actually make these a little bit smaller. It's a little bit bigger than I'm expecting. And I can't zoom out, but I need y'all to pay attention to this. This document that we're going over is called, and let me make it a little bit smaller. Maybe that'll help. All right. Now, it's called 40 Well-Kept Secrets That All U.S. Slaves Should Be Aware of. Now, we went over this the last time I was on, and I'm going to move this over just a little bit so my YouTube people, my TikTok people can see it. All right. So, but you can't be covering up Diva. That cannot be happening. So we're gonna do something like this. All right. Now, you all should be able to see this. And I'm going to get into this thing. Now, this is called, you all can go and look this up. Just do a Google search on this. 40 well-kept secrets that all U.S. slaves should be aware of. Now, we went through Halo My Shop for Locks. Thank you for joining. And you are the number one viewer. Yes, you are. All right, the winner. Thank you for joining. Who else is in here? We got quite a few people. Joe's in the house. Uh, Maldane's in the house, and all of my people in YouTube. Thank you all for joining. And I'm gonna try to get into this real quick. We left off last time at number 13. And so once again, y'all want to go through and read this. If you didn't catch it, find us on YouTube. You will see the entire session there where we went through 1 through 13. And basically what I wanted to do is just go through these because of the simple fact that for the most part, this document has some accuracies, but the way that it states things is not clear, and there's ambiguity, and I needed to clear some of them up. I've gone into in this document, there are a couple of things that it does not make note of, and there's a difference between the United States versus the United States of America. And in here it says the United States, for example, is a colony, and that is incorrect. Or it says America rather is a colony. I'm going to find it so that I'm not paraphrasing. All right. Let me see. If I can find it quickly here, because I don't want to spend a lot of time. Here it says America is a British colony. For example, this is incorrect. The United States Corporation is a British colony, but America has nothing to do with the United States Corporation, and we've gone through that. Go back and check in UNA on the UNARepublic site on YouTube, and I go through specifically the difference between the United States versus the United States of America. So go and check that out. Now, I want to scroll down here because we left off at number 13. Military dictator George Washington divided the states into districts based upon ritualistic practices. And one of the things I was letting you know is that there is the United States, which is inside of what we know of as Washington, D.C. Go and check this out. That is definitely built on ritualistic architecture there. So you can do some research on that and get some insight more on the ritualistic practices and how it was built. In addition, now we're going on number 14. To obsession with Masonic ritual symbols and architecture, the United States is the first country from its very inception to have been surveyed and engineered according to Masonic ritual as specifications. Again, he's talking about the United States Corporation, which is based in Washington, D.C. All right, there is a difference, but that is correct if you're talking about the one in Washington, D.C. The United States does not have any employees because there is no longer a United States. Now, let's talk about this because actually the United States, you'll hear people say it's been dissolved. Now, we know in 1933 that the United States went so far deep into bankruptcy that it had to get the people or the mothers to sign over their children as debt slaves to the United States Corporation. All right. So once again, remember, there's the United States of America and then this United States. This is a corporation owned by Britain. Let's be clear on it. And it doesn't have any employees because it has been dissolved. No more reorganization. So y'all can look up this order, this executive order 12803. Do not impersonate one of its creditors or shareholders, or you will go to prison. So basically what this is talking about is that when you are calling yourself a citizen, then you're claiming to be an employee. All right. What the deal is, you have to recognize who you are and the fact that you have an ownership in this defunct corporation, and then you need to learn how to use it, and we get into that and understanding why you have trust. Before 9/11 in Pearl Harbor, the Boston Tea Party was a false flag operation enacted to promote further hostilities towards the indigenous tribes of North America. This is one of the things that I talk about. because look, this is what I'm talking about. See here in North America, this doesn't have anything to do with the United States corporation because these people have no allegiance to America whatsoever. These are foreign entities. And when we're talking about North America, we're talking about the landmass. And then you have the indigenous tribes in here. Now, I'm not somebody asked me about the Moors the other day. And I'm going to do another session probably Friday when I have more time. If I have more time, I'll do an actual 2-hour session where I really go in on the Moors and who they are and what they do or what have you. But the thing about, um, people keep trying to say this is Morocco and all of that ridiculousness, is that you've got the United States who was fighting against the original indigenous people of North America. And then if this was Morocco, I gotta wonder, well, where the heck was Morocco when the United States was beating down on these original people of the land? Where was Morocco then? They weren't anywhere in the picture. But getting back to this Boston Tea Party being a false flag operation, I need y'all to understand these people have MOs. They have been doing this throughout time. They're still doing this today when they talk about false flags operations where somebody will come in, for example, in the so-called riots in California when that was going on. It was made clear that there were people who weren't even from the place that were coming in and causing this and starting all of this havoc. uh that looked like they were melanated people. And you had this thing going around where there was a suit where they would put on suits and look like melanated people, but they weren't really melanated people. They were just creating false flags. So this is, you seeing it happen all the way back here. They create false flags. This is part of their MO. All right, I need to go on. Number, as I scroll down too far, 17. The causes behind World War I, World War II, and the Depression were completely fraudulent. The United States was making loans to other countries all over the world during the Depression. In early 1930s, the buildings of Germany infrastructure, World War railroads, military, and funding of the Nazi Party was financed by the United States, including various other American corporations and private American investors, namely Prescott Bush, the grandfather of George W. Bush. My research shows the exact same thing. All right. It shows that World War II, especially the Nazis rather, were funded by United States corporations, Coca-Cola, Xerox. As a matter of fact, when you start talking about Hitler and his tanks and his uniforms, those were paid for by companies in the Americas. So one of the things y'all need to recognize is this game, and we talked about it, these people will fund both sides of the war. These people who are playing this game at the very top, they're going to fund both sides of the war. When you talk about Hitler, Hitler was funded by a lot of very large United States companies, which are owned by who? The Jews. What? Wait a minute, huh? Yeah. These are the things we're not told. Everything is propaganda and it's lies. And as long as these people can use the propaganda to their advantage to create wars, that's exactly what they're going to keep doing. But these people, the Nazi Party, they will find it. And you go and do your research, you'll find out all of their outfits, when it comes to the tanks and a lot of the things that were being done for them, were funded by American companies, which are owned by Jews. So you mean to tell me the Jews financed their own people going into camps? Well, yeah. Why they do that? Because remember, this land that they call Israel now, that didn't come about until after this whole thing went down in Germany with the Jews. That didn't come about till after. So when you're starting to recognize the game, and please note, we've been told that these people were incinerated and shot and killed and all of this, but they weren't. The vast majority of the people who were there, they did come out of there and they went into um, what we know of as Israel today, because they needed to find a way to say, hey, look at how our people are being desecrated, and they're being hurt and harmed or whatever. And they're telling you 6 million people when this is a lie. You even talk to these rabbis, they'll tell you, well, the numbers are, yeah, they're a little bit trumped up. They a lot bit trumped up because it wasn't but 500,000 Jews in all of Europe. Where they come up with 6 million. Yeah, they're making it up. So I'm just going in on this because, yeah, this is on point. This is in my research, my own research finds this, that first of all, yeah, the cause behind World War II, all this stuff was a lie. The cause behind the Civil War, that was a lie. I'm not going into that. I'm just going over this list as much as I can before I have to get out of here. But the United States was making loans to other countries. This is how they put the other countries in debt. So this is another MO. Okay, this is how they do. They're going to go and loan them money. So this is the United States will go into these other countries, and then they would loan them money that they knew the country would not be able to pay back. So what would happen is they say, hey, we're gonna give you a loan to build up your country and all this other stuff. And so when the country couldn't pay it back, would they say, oh, well, just give us some rights to your land, or give us some of the rights to your mineral rights and to your water services and to your light services, and then we'll be good. And so now, once they got their claws into them, they're taking over all of their land. They're raising the prices of everything, and the people are wondering, well, what's going on? I know this because I was in Argentina. Argentina is rich with resources, but they took a loan from the United States. Then they were like, we're not gonna pay you back. And so the United States had gotten a hook into them where they were like, okay, well, give us the rights to your bus companies, and give us the right to your water, and people were in Argentina were, what's going on? Why are the prices going up so high? And then they would boycott Argentina. They just shut everything down. They're like, you know what? We're not dealing with this no more. But at any rate, this is what they do. They give a loan. They know the country can't pay back, and then when they can't pay it back, they force them into turning over their land or their mineral rights so that they can control them further. Then it goes on to say, in the early 1930s, the building of Germany infrastructure, railroads, military, and funding for the Nazi Party was financed by the United States, which I can definitely see that, meaning the United States corporation and a lot of the businesses that were in the United States, because that's exactly what my research shows. All right. It says, note that Switzerland is never involved in these fiascos because Bank of International Settlements is located in Zurich. Now I'm gonna say this: they did not make this clear or give a good understanding of why they would leave that statement. But I'm gonna just leave that there. Now, the etymology behind what we today in the West would consider an innocuous, ordinary, internationally dispersed banking practice called lending is known within virtually every holy text throughout the world, including the Bible, as usury. Now, those of y'all who read the Bible, you would know this is the biggest reason that the Israelites got in trouble right here. Usury. Usury is when you are borrowing money with interest. That's the biggest reason the Israelites got in trouble in the Bible, because they kept borrowing money. Going back up to this one right here, where it's talking about how the United States was making loans to loan to other countries all over the world during the Depression. They were making loans. Why do they make loans? Because they want to put you into enslavement with usury. And when you don't borrow money from them, when you don't allow them to loan you money, then they can't enslave you. This is why the Bible was so much against usury. These people who are also known as Jews are very good at enslaving people, and they do it with their these practices of loaning you money. And the problem is that as soon as you do that, as soon as you borrow money from them, you enslave yourself. And when you enslave yourself, then you become subject to them. And so, going back to the Bible, one of the things the Bible kept telling the Israelites, don't borrow money. So if you notice, and let me tell you something, there were at one point seven countries that did not have a bank or a central bank in them, and two or three of them were Muslim countries. Muslim countries. Why am I talking about Muslim countries? Because they wouldn't borrow money from the United States. And if you don't borrow money from them, then the United States is going to find a way to go to war with you. If you don't allow yourself to borrow money from them, the United States is going to find a way to go to war with you. And so that's what this document is talking about. Usury is generally categorized as a predatory act or preying on those who are most vulnerable. People within the banking loan industry, however, more commonly refer to this practice as written loan or mortgage, as in a death pledge. Mort meaning death, gage meaning pledge. The word mortgage comes from the Latin word mortgage, which in English literally means death grip. All right. So when we're talking about number 19, the Federal Reserve was never legally ratified on the floor of the House and Senate and is not a U.S. government agency. All right. So once again, this term U.S. government, who they talking about? Who and what are they talking about? All right. Now, when we're talking about the Federal Reserve, there's a Federal Reserve system. This is what I mean, where if you're not deep into this thing, then this stuff is going to be mind-boggling to you. It's going to go over your head because there's a Federal Reserve system, and then there are Federal Reserve banks. There is a difference between the two. And your Federal Reserve banks, they're the ones who are holding the financial instruments that we call birth certificates. These banks, there's 12 of them, 13 of them rather, in this system, the Federal Reserve bankings, and they are holding the birth certificates, and they're the ones who are funding the Federal Reserve. Now, there's a problem with this term. That's why I'm pointing out some ambiguity here. The U.S. government, who they talking about? Because you got to understand the U.S. is a corporation. It's really not a government. And so when you're talking about the U.S. government, who are you talking about? No, they don't have nothing about the U.S. is federal. But then there is a group that's funding the U.S. corporation. And this is why all these federal laws or federal codes rather are out here, because those federal codes tell the U.S. corporation what they're supposed to do and what they can't do, because they can't just take the funds and do with them as they please. They have a responsibility. And if they don't do it, then they're going to have to pay for it in a way that really scares them. And you can tell it scares them in the way that they do business. So again, if you're not aware of how they do business, mainly when they're telling you, here's your receipt, how when you go into a company and you purchase something and they're giving you a receipt, they darn near chasing you out the building to get your receipt. Why? Because if they don't give you a receipt, then it's considered a fraudulent practice. That's part of the rules that they have to abide by on the federal side. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot of ambiguity in this document. It's on point for the most part, but when you use terms like U.S. government and you don't make it clear who you're talking about, there's a U.S. corporation, and then there's a United States of America federal government, and then there's a Federal Reserve, there's a set of Federal Reserve banks, and then there's a Federal Reserve system that belongs to the U.S. corporation. You got to be clear on that. It goes on to say it is a privately owned pyramid scheme perpetrated against Americans by most unethical group of world bankers. Those are people who are with U.S. corporation, and they have no allegiance to the United States of America whatsoever. And so they name some names: J.P. Morgan, uh, Paul Warburg, and Rockefeller. And the thing about names, these names are involved in the y'all remember the Titanic? See, I didn't tie this in. This is why I like to talk to people who do their own research and who study as well, because when we start having these conversations, things start getting tied in. And when we're talking about the Federal Reserve System, there was a vote that was supposed to go in concerning the Federal Reserve System, and it was around the same time that the Titanic sank. Well, these people who were supposed to be voting on this ended up being on that Titanic, all of which died. So it's said that this Titanic didn't just sink by some kind of accident. No, this thing supposedly sank because somebody set for it to be sank, and there were people on that ship who were supposed to be voting on this Federal Reserve whole thing coming into play. And these people actually owned that ship. These people here, they had ownership in that ship that sank. The same way these are the same people who had ownership in the 911 buildings that went down, and they had taken out an extra insurance plan on before it went down. Y'all remember 911, 9/11? These people had stake in that. They made money off of it. All right, carrying on. And I had to get out of here after this. The Internal Revenue Service isn't a U.S. government agency, but an agency of the Internal Monetary Fund, aka IMF. If you don't know what IMF is, look them up. They got their hands in everything as well. The IRS was devised by bankers to collect national debt, which the bankers, created themselves. They did. They created that debt by greatly inflating the cost of financing World War I, World War II, which these same bankers incited in first place. They started all this stuff, is what they're saying. Yes, totally agree. The IRS then began collecting the income tax directly imposed on the American people as a means to ensure perpetration of an archaic class system known as serfdom or slavery. So whereby they're enslaving everyone. All right. In addition to the tax never being legally ratified, it is a direct, unapportioned tax on the labor of the average American worker. And so therefore, according to Constitution, is not even legal. All right. And again, they lead these codes. Once again, I'm going to get out of here. You all can look this up. 40 well-known, well-kept secrets that all U.S. slaves should know. I'm going to probably finish it up maybe when we come in on Friday at 7. But in the meantime, you look it up. Be aware that there is some ambiguity, but for the most part, this is a very, it's pretty much on point. However, there are some things that need to be made clear. Once again, go to UNARepublic on YouTube, and you're going to be able to catch the first part of this. You'll be able to catch this session as well. I want to thank all of y'all for joining. Tanya, peace, fam. If you all want to join the university, go to go to UNAUniversity.com and send a message so we can give you a free consultation to enroll for the spring season. So we're start enrolling for the spring season in the middle of March. All right, so January, February, March, to get everybody in here who wants to be a part of the university. This information is so deep. You need to take time to make sure the information is being processed. You're going to need to be in class so that you can keep hearing this, because you're not going to just hear it one time and get it. It takes time to get it, and some of our students have been in it for quite some time, and they got to hear it over and over again because it's got to become a part of you. We've also got to deprogram ourselves from the lies that we have been told. So I want to say thank you, all my people in TikTok. I love y'all. All my people in YouTube, I love you. Thank you for so much for joining us. We're gonna catch you here on Friday. We should catch you here on Friday. I'm doing some traveling, and but I want to make sure I'm here so that I can make some points and make sure you all are aware of some things that are going on. All right, I'm out of here. I love you. Keep studying, peoples. Keep studying. We're in a new time. We're in a new time zone. Y'all need to know what's going on. A lot of changes are coming, and we're going to be going into them here in UNA. All right, Diva Marie, I'm out. I love you. Peace. Bye-bye. Yes, yes, yes. UNA.